Hey everybody, it's Matt, Wrestling with Whiskey's back. Another top 5 list. This time I'm giving you a little intro pack. The top 5 bourbons that I think you should have to start off in your collection, because I know we all want to collect and build obnoxious closets like this, but I think piggybacking off of our other top 5 video, we want to start slow. And if you haven't seen that one, I'll link it at the end. I think it's a great primer. It's the top 5 tips for new bourbon fans. Check it out. And then as you start to grow your collection, continue to start slow. And the 5 I'm going to give you here represent a wide variety of tastes, styles, and all the major distilleries too that are big at making bourbon. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Here I have the top 5, in just my opinion, bourbons that you should have to start your collection. Number 1 comes to us from one of the most famous or infamous distilleries because a lot of their products end up being a little harder to find. They make incredibly beautiful and elegant products, but they're a little bit on the scarcity, and they end up getting a little bit upcharged. But that is Buffalo Trace, if you don't know already. But the bourbon I am recommending to you to start off your collection is their regular old standard Buffalo Trace. I think this, for the money, this is $29.99 or less, depending on where you can get it. It's sweet, which I think Buffalo Trace does really well. They have these sweeter, rich bourbons, and this one is a great one. The proof is easygoing, so when you're new to bourbon, it's not going to light your face on fire. And it's just quality, price, everything matches up. Now, I know in some parts of the country, even this is a little hard to get, but most places I've seen, this is on the shelf. It's on the grocery store shelf here where I live. So check this out. That's a great starter to represent Buffalo Trace. Number 2 comes to us from Heaven Hill, which is one of the biggest family-owned and operated distilleries in America. And it comes from their Evan Williams line, which you may have heard of. Evan Williams is one of the biggest selling bourbon brands all over the world. Often it competes with Jim Beam for the number, of bottles sold, cases sold, all over the planet. And so the bottle I'm going to talk to you today about is not, though, the Evan Williams Black Label that you might see everywhere. That's a quality bourbon too, but I think just to expand your palate and give you different options in this 5, I want you to look at the Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. That is the white label Evan Williams. It is an incredible deal, usually less than $20. And it is a bottled and bond product, which if you haven't looked it up, if you're not sure what that is, that's fine. Take a look into it, look into some articles on it, but more or less, it's a standard that was enacted in 1897 to just solidify that our spirits are pure, that they're untampered with, because there's a whole history to it. I'm not going to get into it here, but look into it. And so it's good to have a bottled and bond product, because those are coming back and they're very, very popular. You know it's at least 4 years old, which gives it a nice little amount of age on it. You know it has to be 100 proof. Those are both 2 of the rules in the Bottled and Bond Act. And so you get a quality, beautiful bourbon that I really, really enjoy. I go through those so quick, that's why I don't have one right now. But they're usually $18, $19. To me, it's a can't miss, very widely available. So check out Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. For number 3, we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch mash bills, which if you haven't looked into mash bills yet, it's basically the ingredients used to make and distill the bourbon. Now, most of the bourbons you'll find on the market are going to be corn, of course, because that's one of the rules, but rye is usually the flavoring grain inside there. Now, often you will see things like a wheated bourbon, and the primary wheated bourbon you will see in just about every single shelf in America is Maker's Mark. Every bar shelf, every home shelf, everywhere you see has Maker's Mark. And there's a reason. It's another one of the biggest selling bourbons in the world. And it is a wheated product. So the flavor is going to be a little bit different on here. So this is going to be a great bottle to get for you to show you the examples of what a wheated bourbon can offer. And again, proof is low, so if you're new to tasting, it'll be easy to drink. The flavor is good, it is quality. The price is on point, especially because wheated bourbons today are very kind of sought after, and so a lot of the other brands of wheated bourbons sometimes are really hard to find. But there's more and more of them out there, but Maker's Mark is one of the standard ones, and I think it's a great way and a cheap and super, super accessible way to get expanding your palates for wheated bourbons. Number 4 comes to us from Four Roses Distillery. Four Roses has a long and storied history, and they've come to popularity with all their different mash bills. This is where, if you're new to this, you might not get it. I didn't know this for so long. All the different OESV, OBSV, they have several different mash bills that they interchangeably use and everything like that, and it's become very popular in the barrel picking market. However, they have some standard line products which are excellent. And to me, the one you should start off with is the Four Roses Small Batch. Four Roses Small Batch is a blend of a few of their mash bills, and it's bottled at an easy drinking proof. It is readily available all over. I see this thing everywhere. And it's just got a really nice balance of flavor for the $30 or less market. And it tells you the story, gives you the idea of some of the flavors in one of the most kind of cult-followed distilleries in bourbon today. There's a lot of huge Four Roses bourbon fans. You'll see them as you get into the forums and the groups. But I would check out Four Roses Small Batch to give you a representation of what that distillery is like and what they can offer. And finally, number 5 comes to us from one of the most infamous and renowned distilling families all around, that being the Russells, which of course means I'm talking about Wild Turkey. And when I talk about Wild Turkey, the go-to release for me, especially to start off with, to recommend to someone who's coming new into bourbon and whiskey, is good old Wild Turkey 101. I mean, I've said it before and I will say it again, it is hard to beat this for price, proof, age, everything. I mean, it's 101 proof, obviously. The price is usually $25 or less. The age is generally 6 to 8 years. It changes from, what batches they use year to year, but I generally always hear it's somewhere in that 6 to 8 year kind of range. And so the flavor, the proof, the price point, everything on here matches up. This is probably one of my favorite on this list. And this will start to get you into the higher proof points, over 100. Start slow with some of the other bottles, but then you sip this neat. This is so often used in, whiskey cocktails and cokes, which is great. But try sipping it neat. It is a quality whiskey that I think should be part of every single bourbon lover's shelf. And a great one to start off with, and a great one to top off our list. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me. The top 5 bourbons that you should have to start off your collection. Again, that's just my opinion. There's so many great bourbons out there, especially in this sub $30 range. And there's more coming all the time. It's fantastic. But these were my 5 picks to give you a wide variety of flavors and profiles, mash bills, etc., etc., etc. And so I want you to check them out. Again, if you're new to bourbon, please click the link for our 5 tips for new bourbon fans, and subscribe, hit the notifications here. Follow me everywhere, guys. Thank you for joining me, and always be wrestling with whiskey.